common question I have gotten regarding the way I teach comedy is, why do you teach comedy the way you do? And the way I do teach comedy is I teach you to write jokes by tackling forms of figurative language, because my theory is that all jokes are just forms of figurative language. And the reason why I developed this method, it really just has to do with the fact that I used to be an elementary school teacher. And when I had to teach second grade standards to a classroom of students and English learners in particular, I use joke writing as a creative tool to engage them and to understand and learn figurative language. For example, the simile. A simile is a comparison that uses like or as. That's a common, that's a standard for second grade students to understand how to use and form similes. But guess what? A lot of jokes are similes. Take this George Carlin joke, for example. Trying to be happy by accumulating possessions is like trying to satisfy hunger by taping sandwiches all over your body. The function of a simile and a metaphor, but we're focusing on similes right now, is to compare two dissimilar things, to find that common ground between two things that we otherwise would think had nothing to do with each other. When it came to teaching the use of commas in sentence construction, for example, this is where I would incorporate the rule of threes, and I would teach students to write jokes that were basically lists. So I would, for example, give them a prompt, 3 rules at work, and they would come up with the list, and you would practice the use of commas in that list. But then I would teach them that the third thing in that list should be something surprising, because that's where the laughter comes in. So let's say I gave them the prompt, 3 rules for work. And then they would come up with the list and practice separating each item in the list with a comma. But then I would teach them that the third item in the list should be something unexpected and surprising, because that's what our punchline would be, and that's where the laughter would come in. So if I gave them the prompt, 3 rules for work: don't be late, don't complain, and if something goes wrong, blame it on someone else. Personification is also a form of figurative language. It's where we ascribe human traits to non-human things. So this is where we might do like a creative writing exercise, and I might tell them, I want you to pretend like you are your pet, and I want you to describe what your favorite thing is, from your pet's point of view. And this is where we would have more fun and get into character, because now you would give your pet a point of view and a voice. And maybe if you were talking about your lazy cat that sleeps all day, you would talk about how annoyed you are when your human comes home and wants to play with you and snuggle you and you just want to continue napping. You would talk about how annoyed you are when your human unexpectedly comes home early from work or school and they interrupt your nap. These are just a few quick examples. But like I said, I find that by going over figurative language, first of all, this is all stuff we already know. We were already taught this in school. We just have to recall what it is. And I guarantee we already use this, and all the jokes that you have written, even if you're not aware of it, they are rooted in a form of figurative language. When you understand these forms of figurative language, you can write more jokes. And that's kind of the goal with being a comedian. You got to constantly be writing jokes. And yeah, this is how I teach comedy in my online intro to comedy class, which you can check out by heading to the link in bio, all that good stuff here on TikTok. And if you have any questions, please ask me in the comments. I love talking about this. I love teaching you guys, and I love helping you learn. And as always, follow for more comedy learning tips.